Thursday, June 9th, and Belinda and I are beginning our trek to the Fodera workshop in Brooklyn. And get ready to get on the subway, which here is the elevated train, I guess. And we'll give you an update as we go. Walking up on the home of Fodera here, 6834th Street, on the 3rd floor. Something tells me we may not get an elevator. 3rd floor, that's not too bad. Yeah, gotta love stairs. We haven't had enough of those yet. Exactly. Here we go, Fodera, 34th Street. Let's give it a shot. So where all the magic happens, right here. Nondescript building in Brooklyn, building amazing bases. All right, here we go. Sure. Her head's not that big in real life, really.
No. Well, that's thoughtful for her to put that up there.
It's too bad. I email Holly all the time.
Yeah, she went to the New Jersey office today.
How cool.
What is this?
This is only English.
Tell me that'll be his help.
This is Vic's number.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
This is it.
That is crazy.
Yep. This is number 37. So,
That's amazing.
1983. Probably the most famous current Fodera.
I would think so,
You couldn't ask for someone better in terms of testing the durability of an instrument. Look at the depth there.
Yeah, and that of course was flat like the rest of it originally.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah.
You said this is from 83?
Yeah. It didn't have the Cala bridge in it originally. That was added later. But it is still the original circuit.
Really?
Yep.
Does everything work?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean these are dead strings and stuff on it. It was here to get measured because we're going to make an exact replica of it for him. But it's, you know, it's actually been here a while. It's got to go back to him soon.
That is really cool.
Yep. It is.
You gotta do like the relic edition. Do the
Yeah.
same thing, but build it that way.
Exactly. That's Anthony Jackson's first Fodera. Well, the one all the way over on the left with the black, that used to be Percy Jones.
Okay.
Used to belong to him. And then that's Anthony's. His first Fodera contrabass. I don't remember what that one is, honestly, all the way over on the right.
Anthony's bass looks a lot better than Rick's bass.
There's a great. So this one right here is the lefty, of which we only do about 2 a year, 3 a year. So this has got a, this is in between coats of spray, crotch walnut top.
Nice.
Yeah, an Emperor 2 lefty. A bear to carve, because none of us are used to really working on lefties. So you have to completely think differently. Beautiful mahogany body, ash tone block. This is getting its butterfly right now. So the body is actually inlaying the butterfly.
Oh, nice.
Every butterfly has to be matched. We have to find 4 pieces that look alike. Actually, believe it or not, that's what me and my wife and the kids sometimes do on rainy weekends.
Really?
Yeah, at our house. We put the butterflies together. Yeah, and then they come here, we glue them together, then they get inlaid. Now this is just, when we select them into butterflies at my house, I bring the stuff home. This is what, you know, you do if you have no life.
Right.
Or you really like what you're doing. You select the 4 pieces and then they go in these little plastic bags so that the guys can just pick them and look. But you know, you see like this, like look at
this.
this.
Oh yeah, it's totally different.
You see, but you see the way that one all looks like it belongs to part of the
Yeah.
scene? We did that out of like 200 different
those,
pieces. You know, it's like a puzzle, so it's a lot of fun. And then we glue them up into the individual butterflies. Very cost-effective way of doing things. First you do that. After you actually hand match each piece, Now you talk about some of the ways that we've gotten better with production times. Vinny and Vadim used to have to do that, the hand matching of that. That's stuff that other people can do.
Right, yeah.
Just that. Just that.
Imagine
Right. I can't carve the neck.
Right.
Vadim and Vinny can do that, but I can match those,
Right.
being artistically inclined. So that's the first step. Then it has to be glued up here. It's glued up by one of Vinny or Vadim to be made into the whole butterfly.
No one butterfly is the same.
No, every
Each one-
butterfly is
every
different.
butterfly is
Its
different.
shape is slightly different.
Yeah.
Then it has to be hand inlaid into here. Then the epoxy has to be put around it to give it the black outline. You know, so you're talking about start to finish, probably 4 hours of work
Just
on the
that
butterfly.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
Oh, you're right. There's plenty of companies that could build
A whole
dozen
base.
bases.
In
in
no
that
time.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's 3 bases for that.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it special. I mean, when you get your Fodera, man, your butterfly is like your fingerprint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know all the little intricacies on my different Foderas, butterflies. I can remember the shape.
Yeah.
I actually saw a picture of one of my bases for sale on Craigslist. And the way I knew it was my base was I knew the pattern on the butterfly.
Yeah.
I looked at the headstock. I'm like, that's my base. I went downstairs. I shot a picture. I sent it to Craigslist. I'm like, someone's trying to scam somebody. So it really becomes a permanent part of that player and that instrument.
Yeah.
So Frankie was working on these today. So this is us gluing up the neck billets. These won't be used for at least another year. But you can see there, Belinda, if you get a shot from here, you can see the way we sandwich it together. And then we slice them this way, so this becomes 3 neck billets sliced across. So this is the first part. And we always have to be looking out at what people are ordering a year or 2 down the road.
Right.
Because the wood that we're making today, we can't use for at least a year.
Right.
I mean, we could, but then it would move more, and we
Right.
don't want to do that.
Right.
So this would go on someone's base in 2012,
Right.
but it starts today.
Right.
So it's funny, sometimes people say, well, man, why did it take so long? The process happens in steps. If we rushed it all together, you could probably put together a Fodera, if you had one guy concentrating on it from start to finish, about a week and a half.
Right.
If you didn't have to wait at all in between each step.
Right.
And the reason we do that is every time you start carving a neck and you take some wood off of that neck, it moves.
Right.
So if you carved it all today and then fretted it tomorrow and sprayed it the next day, by the time the customer gets it, it might not be exactly what it should be. So
Right.
we'll do a first pass at carving, let it sit for a couple of days. Spray it, let it sit. So it's this series of steps. At each time, you get to correct for the natural material's inherent difference. Here, you've got a center piece that's quarter sawn, and then 2 side pieces that used to be part of the same piece that have been put on the side. The idea being, whatever direction this piece moves, it's going to have an equal and opposite force counteracting it on the other side. Right? So we build up these neck billets, and then the date that this was laid down goes on here. So this one was built in March of 2010. And then we won't use this for an instrument until, probably March or later of 2011, right? So these were all built last year. Now they're ready to be pulled. We can actually take these down and use them. And these are all the different types that we have. This is more topwood over here that hasn't been cut. This is a dovetail neck. And as you see, with a dovetail neck or a bolt-on, we're going to be gluing or bolting together the base. So we kind of create these short little necks. We do our angled peg head right there. So, and I'll show you how it's connected outside to the body. But these are all of the bolt-ons or dovetails. They're these short pieces. For neck throughs, you use a longer billet. So the billet starts out longer because the idea with a neck through is the body is going to attach to the sides. Okay, and the neck billet is going to run right through the whole body. Some people want to have a solid top which covers it, but this is still underneath.
Right.
All right, and then this is what we call the tone block. Right? So we glue another piece of tone wood on the back. Your body wings will glue to here and here, like this. Your tone block is in the middle, and then there's your neck billet. right?
Okay.
So those are the 3 different construction types that we use to build a base. Bolt-on, dovetail,
Right.
and then neck.
Right.
Let me show you what the finished product looks like out here. What you can see is maple fingerboards. The maple fingerboards are actually sprayed before you do the frets. That's why our maple fingerboards cost more than an ebony fingerboard. Ebony as a material is significantly more expensive now than bird's eye maple.
Right.
But we have the extra labor step of having to spray finish it before we fret it. And the reason we do that, a lot of less expensive bases, the way they do it, they fret the instrument and then they spray it right over the frets, and then they just scrape the paint off of the frets.
Right.
The problem with that is if you ever have to go to pull the fret, you just crack your whole finish. Whereas in this, your frets are sitting on top of the paint, so we could change a fret anytime we needed to. We're not going to have to completely resurface and refinish. This body has been cut for a dovetail neck. This is actually an old body that we're not using. We don't really make this kind of dovetail body anymore. It's a 3-piece body. We used to do this in the early days. This has probably been sitting in this shop since 1985. Anyway, but that's a dovetail neck joint, and then what you would do is you'd cut the inverse of that. Let me see if I have it.
It's a great clog.
This is kind of the inverse of a dovetail neck joint, right there.
Right.
I'm not sure whether this will actually work. Because they're not the same size. It's a 4-string. This is for a 5-string, and it's wider.
Right.
But if this were a 4-string neck, that would set right in there, and then you'd have a glue joint there, there, and all around here and here. That's the way the dovetail necks work. The bolt-on, you're doing this. You're actually creating a neck pocket, and then you're setting that neck pocket. That goes in there and gets screwed together.
The shapes and the hardness of the steel and the shape of the handle.
So we make our own.
So we wait until one of those blades goes bad. Special alloy high-speed steel.
Yeah.
Carbon steel.
And we fashion the knives out of those old.
And then we take a piece of tulip wood and glue
But
it.
we're not being romantic or,
Yeah.
you know, it's just they work better.
Yeah.
We like doing that, and we can make it exactly the shape that fits our hands, so it's most comfortable. For getting inside these curves, for example, that particular shape and length is exactly right.
Right.
So it's just easier to make. It's crude, but it works.
Yeah.
It's actually it's beautiful.
It's crude in my hands. It's a beautiful
you know,
instrument.
Yeah, it is. It
It's
is.
not a collector knife. It's a utility knife to use every day.
I don't know. I think there'd be some people that want to collect it if you guys need me.
Yeah.
That's right. 5 minutes. That's right.
Yeah.
Here or this one. These are all, they come in bags of completely different pieces. You have to lay them all out on a big whiteboard. Each piece of this beauty, you can see this happens to be ash, 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 so it's hard to see.
Right.
But that is that tone block that I talked to you about
Right.
back in there. There's a body wing that gets glued onto one side, a body wing that gets glued onto the other side. This one happens to have a solid top. So the reason that we have a $500 charge, if you will, to do a solid top on a lead is you actually have to hand scribe that whole shape all the way around there.
Right.
And it's just the better part of a day's work to
Right.
do it and make it fit just so that it looks just like the dovetail. There you go. What Vadim's got, see that?
Yeah. Oh, that's
This is going to have a solid top on it.
That's good.
So this has to all be perfectly flat. That has to be perfectly flat. Then you have to shape it exactly around there through a series of very minute carvings on the edge of this joint to
Right.
make it look perfect, so that when you look here, you can't ever tell that that was all laying on top. It looks
Right.
like
Right.
the other.
That's how it
form.
looks before you glue that.
Right. And if we didn't do a solid top, then you'd see that.
I think you don't see that center
Yeah.
piece. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just from the back, you just see that.
Yeah.
You smell the olive?
Yeah.
It smells like olive.
Yeah. Smells great.
Anyway, that's the initial round over. And then after Vin does the initial round over, then it's all hand carved. I love the shape. know the figure on that one?
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is.
Cool. So the Richard Bone is 34-inch scale. It's got an ash body, and it has both an ash set of body wings and then also an ash tone block. Bodywood is the most important in terms of the tone on the base because it's the largest percentage of mass. The combination of neck and fingerboard is next. Right, the neck, in this base, the neck wood is the second largest piece of mass. So the fact that we've chosen maple here, that is a significant fact. If we chose ash instead, that would really change the character of the instrument.
Right.
After that, after the body wood and the neck wood, would come the fingerboard wood, then the tone block, and the last would be the top in terms of impact on the sound. So you can see how we glue the peg head ears on.
Yeah.
That's maple burl. There's so much dust on it I can't tell for sure, but it looks like redwood. That's flamed redwood most likely.
Yeah.
The one behind it is walnut. And I don't know what that is. I think I really honestly don't know what that one is on the wall. I think it's maple also. That's maple burl right there, that I know.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's wild. So, you know,
Most other workshops, even if they're carving wood, they're still buying the pre-cut,
we buy
blocks.
We buy flitches of wood.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes we buy blocks, but this is, we buy bird's eye and then cut it down for fingerboard material or
Yeah.
tops or whatever.
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
No, there's no one financially suicidal enough, generally. Because, out of that, that beautiful piece of redwood, maybe we'll get 10 spectacular tops, 15. As you can see, there's a lot of waste.
Yeah.
All that's waste. There's some waste in here.
Yeah, the edges.
But I know that piece is really, really old.
So then, why would you buy it?
Because Vinny's a woodaholic. So, Vinny loves wood. Like, if someone offers him, I've got a piece of 100-year-old redwood that's got flame throughout it, he'll take it. As long as the price is somewhat reasonable.
Right.
He'll figure out what to do with it.
Right.
Here's some zebra wood. More bird's eye back there. This is neck ash. This is ash for necks. This is maple for necks. We've got some thin walnut boards. Alder stuff up there. These are all necks that are in production, right? So these are the next instruments that'll make their way back out onto the production floor.
Right.
So they get made a couple of months before they have to be out on the floor. Actually, the billets get made anywhere from 6 months to 2 years before they get put together to become a guitar. Then about 4 months before we actually start final assembly, we put a billet together with a fingerboard, let it sit for a while and stabilize, and then we bring them out front. And then we start putting the body on them and stuff like that.
Wow.
Hollywood, all holly. Very frustratingly difficult to get nice, clean, clear white holly.
Yeah. What's this?
This looks like rainbow maple. Yeah, it is. It's kind of rainbow maple. It's a species of maple that's different than the regular spalted maple you see, but the spalting in this gen tends to give it more color.
Yeah.
So we put the wood aside for the order. This is where it gets filed in production number order.
Okay.
So that's the line of people still to be built. And actually, a lot of the tops aren't selected. Those are only people that select their tops. I'd say 50 or 60% of people just leave it up to us. They give us a type of wood,
Right.
and then they leave it up to us.
Right. You guys go pick it. Yeah.
So, but there's some great stuff in here.
Interesting.
Yep. That's Brazilian rosewood.
I was getting ready to ask you what that was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Brazilian rosewood
Yeah,
with
that's
sapwood.
That is
You want
crazy.
see something even more wild?
Yeah.
That is Brazilian rosewood burl.
Oh.
It's just sick.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. That's 100-year-old Brazilian rosewood burl.
Wow.
Hey, Laura. So that is a chunk of buckeye burl.
Holy cow.
Right.
So,
So that is a slice of a root burl from a buckeye tree from the Pacific Northwest that we bought. Oh, that one was probably bought about a year and a half ago. That's the last one left that's just still out here waiting to be cut up. So once it's dry enough, which this now is, buckeye actually dries very quickly.
Right.
Once it's dry enough, we then cut it into those blocks that you saw. That's step 2, right? You cut them into blocks. Right?
Wow.
So that's what you do after you take, and that big piece that you saw outside will probably yield about anywhere between 4 and 8 blocks.
Okay.
Like this. Then, after that, then we slice them. You know,
Oh man, that is gorgeous.
slice them like that.
Yeah.
Right now, what Joey's doing, he's sorting pickup covers, which is a very glamorous thing. But again, this is one of the owners of the company, and he's sorting the pickup covers. That's the kind of place this is,
Right.
which we love.
Do everything. They have to be an everything guy.
Yeah.
So Joey does all the electronics. Joey with Mike, Mike Pope, David Yates, Joey collaboratively worked on the preamp. Mike is an incredible designer. Mike Pope, he's a partner of David Yates. But then putting it in basses, in Fodera specifically, and giving feedback. How does that sound? That change that you made, what does that do? How does that functionally work? That's one of the things Joey does.
Yeah.
Because Joey's been, how many years have you been playing pro?
From 15, 14.
Yeah, so he's 57 now.
Yeah.
I mean, real world battle conditions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wedding bands, club dates, real battle conditions.
Hey, I play.
That's
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
So, that gives us the feedback. If we have a new pickup that someone sends us that says, hey, I think this is great, it goes in his bass, my bass if it's a 4-string, someone's going to go play it out. Then if it passes us and we say, okay, it's tolerable, we have a new pickup that we just put in Tom Kennedy's bass. So he's out with it now.
Right.
He's out in Tokyo, tour of Tokyo.
He took it NYC to Tokyo and he put a new set of pickups that we're trying out in it. He'll come back and he'll say, man, it was working to cut through the mix. He's playing with Stern. And
Right.
Is Weckel on the drums now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, Weckel, Mike Stern, and that's our laboratory.
Yeah.
So before it gets into your bass, at least someone
gone through
other,
those guys,
yeah, it's
yeah.
gone through some significant
People on my knee that can play. Right.
people like Joey.
Yeah.
You and I are brothers.
Thank
in
God for people like that.
The thing is, we're all brothers.
That's it.
Yeah,
You
We're all bass brothers, and
That's
that's what
right.
it's all about. Everybody's got their thing and their
That's what makes
taste.
it so beautiful.
the dark black. On the ones on the custom line, they're the silver. Okay, they weigh the same. Tonally, they sound the same. This one is a little bit more expensive to produce. It's produced in a smaller shop, smaller quantities. This goes on the custom. These go on the NYCs and the standards.
Right.
So that's the only difference.
what's the process when someone, if someone orders a base today and you can begin the production cycle?
All right, so we order a base.
Right.
Right now, our wait's about 15 to 16 months. So, the first step, give me a deposit as a dealer. Then we basically put aside all the woods. We work with the customer as soon as we have a deposit, select the top wood. Now, they can always change it. But at least we've got something in the rack for that customer if they want to choose the top. 7 months after the order's placed, you would get an email saying, this is the spec sheet we have for this base. It's going to go into production in 4 months. This is your last chance to make changes to the specs. At that point in time, you could change anything. You could change it from 34 to 36-inch scale. You could change the fingerboard material. You could change the woods. Change everything. Once that last call letter's gone out, you got 2 weeks to get final specs. Then we lock it in. After there, we are actually starting to build that base, right? So we're 7 to 8 months now before the delivery date. And we're starting to now pick a neck fillet out of the stuff that's been aged before. We'll glue a fretboard up. We'll start to create that neck.
Right.
Within a couple of weeks to at most a month after the final sign-off. All right. So we can let that neck sit in this form for as long as possible.
Right.
All right. When you get to the production date, you have a production date on your sheets. That's when we start bringing those parts out to the main floor. They actually start coming out here, and we start putting together the body works, putting the tops on the body, gluing pieces up. Now that might happen in a very compressed time frame, depending on how old and dry the wood is and how Vinny feels, or it might happen over a period of 4 months, depending on how the wood's reacting. And that's really up to Vinny and Vadim and their own personal judgment. So we try to have everything ready 4 months before the base is ready to deliver.
Right.
And then these guys work on it as they see best for the given instrument.
Right.
And so, you'll start gluing the body wings or the body on, you'll start carving and shaping the neck, and that process happens. The overall build process really is a 4-month process.
Right.
Even though we've done a lot of the work way before that in terms of the parts, but physically being worked on out here every couple of days.
Right.
That's what.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The last 3 weeks is the finishing process. Sanding, spray booth, finish. We do roughly 10 coats of paint, 10 to 12 coats of paint on each. So it goes into the spray booth, gets a couple of coats. The next day gets sanded, goes back into the spray booth, gets a couple of coats, boom, 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 until the finish is perfect.
Right.
As perfect as we can.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah.
It's a completely hand-worked finish.
Yeah.
And that is, you were talking before about prices. Literally, the way we arrive at our prices is we do the instruments exactly the way we think they should be done. And we track how long it takes and how much the materials cost. And then we try to be able to stay in business and make like a slight return on investment, and that's the price.
Right.
It's worked out that way. It's never a question of, all right, we have to hit a $5,000 price point or a $2,000 price point. How do we do that? Even when we did that the first go around with the NYCs, the first version of the NYCs, they ended up not being as interesting and as wonderful as the new NYCs.
Right.
That is the only time in Fodera's history that we were trying to hit a price point.